Sometimes Spider-Man has to do the hard thing, even if it breaks Peter Parker's heart. Here we go.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Marvel and Sony released another Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer with some new dialogue from the movie. They've also revealed the entire opening scene in the movie and what's happening to Peter Parker since the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, what happened to Ned, MJ, what's going on with his new Spider-Man suit, the limited technology he still does use. He's used pieces of his Stark Tech suit, the Iron Spider suit, to create his new suit, which is inspired by Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's suits. It's not like he's swinging around with zero technology. He does have a brand new suit AI like Karen's Suit Lady, but it's called Evie. They haven't revealed who's voicing the character though. But it is meant to be vastly reduced from what his level of Iron Man technology was during the Infinity Saga of movies. But he does have like a low-grade version, like a dumpster dive version of a fabricator that helps him repair his suit. Because he has been operating by himself for the past 9 months since No Way Home. That's how long it's been since the end of No Way Home. So he is much closer to comic book accurate Spider-Man in terms of the level of tech that he uses. He's more of a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, like they make that joke during the previous trailers, a friendly neighbor. And now that we're getting closer to the movie coming out, it seems like Marvel and Sony are going to start releasing more footage soon, so hopefully Marvel also decides to drop more Avengers Doomsday footage too, because we still have not seen the first full official trailer from that yet. I already did a video for the leaked version of the trailer from CinemaCon, so I will add it to the end of this. I know there's a ton of questions about how Spider-Man Brand New Day leads into that and what's going on with Spider-Man and Sadie Sink's new character during Doomsday and Secret Wars. Since Marvel is turning her into such a central character in Marvel Phase 7 after Avengers Secret Wars, it just supports the theory that she is going to be the new Jean Grey of the MCU, if she's going to be one of the pillars of all Marvel movies next to Spider-Man, the rest of the X-Men going forward just in general. I know a lot of people were bummed out they didn't set her character up more at the end of the Punisher One Last Kill special. That wound up being way more self-contained, but it was basically him right before the events of Spider-Man Brand New Day, before he meets Sadie Sink's character.
I'll tell you a few things.
I'll tell you what, man.
I'll tell you that right now.
This is actually meant to be an image that leaked out that people upscale, so this is supposedly what's happening at some point during the movie. We don't know exactly what their relationship is, only that he is helping her out. My assumption, based on what we know about the rest of the plot, the rest of the other trailer footage that we've seen so far, and the CinemaCon footage that leaked out, is that Damage Control is trying to capture her, and he is trying to help save her. Totally makes sense they're setting Damage Control up as like this big anti-mutant organization going into Marvel Phase 7. I also wouldn't be surprised if they're responsible for the creation of Sentinels too, MCU Sentinels. But during the brand new trailer footage, we get a slightly longer scene of Spider-Man pulling his mask down on the rooftop, then jumping off of the building into action, and the later scene of him, MJ, and Ned Lee's party, where he watches her with her new boyfriend, played by Ezra Bridger himself from Ahsoka, Amon Esfandi. They cut it with the new voiceover dialogue where he says, sometimes Spider-Man has to do the hard thing, even if it breaks Peter Parker's heart, talking about himself in the third person. Towards the end of the trailer, there's another line of dialogue that we get from him. It sounds like it's from that same speech, and it's from the beginning of the movie. Sony and Marvel do stuff like this all the time with Spider-Man trailers, big Marvel trailers too, like Avengers Doomsday, where like a lot of the footage from the earlier trailers is from the early parts of the movie, like the earliest parts, to avoid giving away big twists and spoilers from the end of movies. But sometimes in the later trailers, they have wound up using scenes from the end of movies. Sometimes they even put post-credit scenes in trailers. One of the most famous Spider-Man examples of that in recent history is the infamous invisible Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire scene from the Sinister Six final battle in the No Way Home trailer that they tried to digitally remove so people couldn't realize what was going on, but they did a poor job of it, so you could still see the lizard reacting to an invisible Spider-Man attack, and most fans clocked immediately, taking it as confirmation that Tobey and Andrew were in the movie. Probably the best example of that phenomenon in the Brand New Day trailer so far is the current theory that Sadie Sink is playing the new main version of MCU Jean Grey, who will eventually be on the new main X-Men team after Secret Wars when that comes together. And this is why she's the third billed actor in the movie, which means she's like really, really big during the plot of the movie, next to Spider-Man himself, Tom Holland, and Zendaya. But even though she is a really big, critical part of the movie, Marvel and Sony have been hiding her face in her scenes so much in the previous trailers. You get a couple glimpses of her, but not her full face, and all the scenes involving her character are edited in misleading ways to try and trick you so you don't know exactly what's going on.
Surprise, bitch. I bet you thought you'd seen the last of me.
Probably the best example of that being the old lady in the tank who looks all confused when Spider-Man rips the hatch off like she has no idea how she got here and she had no idea how to actually pilot this. Then the other characters around him reacting like someone is jumping into and out of all their minds, then up to the catwalk on the upper level into somebody else's mind too. So my early theory here, just based on this footage and the footage that leaked out from the CinemaCon trailer, is that Marvel is giving Sadie Sink Jean Grey's powers a big glow up in terms of the way they visualize them on screen, the telepathy, telekinesis, in the same way they gave Sue Storm's powers a big glow up in the Fantastic Four movie, so you know what she's doing when she's actually using her powers. Streets are currently saying that Sadie Sink's powers are going to look a little bit more like Jean Grey's powers during X-Men 97 when she's using them with the flares, like the energy-looking flares. I don't know if they're going to be blue like the ones in X-Men 97, but something similar to the way this looks when she's using her abilities, so you can clearly see what she's doing when she's using her powers. We're seeing all the classic X-Men come back during Doomsday. We will see if they also give them glow-ups too, because during the classic Bryan Singer X-Men movies, Famke's Jean Grey, for example, didn't really get any special effects to show she was using telekinesis, for example. You would just see stuff lifting up around her, flying around her, or like touching her temples the way the Professor X did when he was using his telepathy. The actual line of dialogue where Spider-Man says doing the hard thing even though it breaks Peter Parker's heart is mostly meant to be a reference to him erasing everyone's minds with Doctor Strange's spell at the end of No Way Home in order to protect them and the world, because it meant losing his friends, like he doesn't have his friends anymore. And in the actual scene where he's saying that line, it's the opening scene of the movie where he finds his letter to MJ that he wrote at the end of No Way Home when he was about to tell her the truth again, that he was Spider-Man and Ned so that he could get his friends back because they no longer remember Peter Parker at all. So it's almost like he doesn't exist. So at the very beginning of the Brand New Day movie, the script references that he's been living this very sad life for the past 9 months since the end of No Way Home. That's how long it's been. And his only actual friend has been his new AI called Evie. So it's like the saddest version of Peter Parker you've ever seen, which is a big meme in the comics the last 10, 15 years. How can we make Spider-Man sadder? How can we take more away from him? How can we make him more depressed? How can we give him an even crappier apartment?
Give me rent.
You'll get your rent when you fix this damn door!
And you kind of see this in some of the early trailer footage. It's begun to take a toll on him, like he's just starting to slowly break down mentally and physically because he's been being Spider-Man 24/7 and he had no friends, like no real good contact with the outside world. My assumption is this is going to dovetail with the evolution that he goes through in the actual movie where he starts to manifest new spider powers, he goes into the cocoon, stuff like that. Destin Daniel Cretton also likened this to real-world examples of people living unhealthy lifestyles and it manifesting in really weird ways, like doing weird things to your body. But now think of it in the MCU with Spider-Man affecting him in really weird physical ways. During the new leaked CinemaCon footage, they also showed a longer version of the party scene with Ned and MJ revealing that the two of them have been trying to sleuth out Spider-Man's identity because they have all these memories of Spider-Man saving them, adventures they had during high school in the previous Spider-Man movies. Because of the spell, they never learned who Spider-Man was, and they have all these theories on their Charlie Day conspiracy board that you see in the background of the trailer here with Peter finding it at the party in Ned's room and just kind of laughing at it like, oh, look, you're trying to figure out who Spider-Man is. I wonder who he is. It's probably not me who's looking at you right now. And when he finds their conspiracy board, the two biggest theories they have is that Spider-Man could be Flash Thompson, which is hilarious, and the other one being Mr. Harrison, their teacher, which got big laughs in the theater at CinemaCon when they showed this. You could also look at the Flash Thompson theory they have as a reference to comic book Flash Thompson, who does eventually get the Venom symbiote after Eddie Brock to become Agent Venom, even though I don't think they're ever actually going to give MCU Flash Thompson the symbiote, like they're not going to do that version of Agent Venom. Maybe we'll get some jokes about that way down the road, but we haven't even done Tom Holland with the symbiote yet. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some version or references to Venom or the symbiote during Secret Wars, but I think they're waiting to give Peter Parker the symbiote until Secret Wars or after Secret Wars, so we will see if they follow up on that symbiote storyline, but it probably won't be till then. But in this movie, they're making it seem like Ned and MJ will just eventually figure out that Peter Parker is Spider-Man on their own again without him having to tell them himself, or Sadie Sink having to use her powers of telepathy to just give them the knowledge, like just plant it in their minds. Zoom in and hands on MJ in the trailers in this scene too at the party. Notice she's still wearing the black dolly necklace that Peter gave her in the previous movies, so she's probably starting to connect the dots here. He gave her that necklace in the same movie where she figured out that he was Spider-Man, so it just makes sense that she would eventually figure it out on her own.
No, I'm not joking.
Because I was only like 67% sure.
MJ?
If Sadie Sink winds up being Jean Grey, like super powerful telepath in the MCU, she could use her powers to help Peter with some of the more practical issues of people forgetting that Peter Parker exists. Because, for example, that would also erase his social security card. And at least in the United States, it's almost impossible to do a lot of just like real basic stuff day to day if you don't have a social security number and the government doesn't have any legit records that you exist. You're basically treated like an illegal alien, and they would try to deport him on the spot, which would be a real big problem for Spider-Man. So you could just use Sadie Sink's Jean Grey character and her powers to just kind of like hand wave over some of those practical issues without completely revealing to every single person that he is Peter Parker Spider-Man. Also, when it comes to technical things like this, Sony does do a lot of hand waving, like don't ask us too many detailed questions, don't poke too many holes in this because we're not going to answer the question. Marvel's also done stuff like this in the past too, with like really specific questions where they'll just hand wave over it and not address it at all in movies. Like, no, we don't have time to deal with that in this movie. Everybody post all your reactions in the comments below, and if you spotted any Easter eggs or references in the footage that I didn't talk about during the video, just write them below in the comments. What'll probably happen is we'll get an actual story-based trailer in the next month or so. We're supposed to get some new footage in the next couple of weeks. Whatever they do wind up releasing, of course I will do videos about it. Hopefully, the next big trailer will reveal more of the actual story and we'll learn more about the actual main villain of the film. We have all kinds of theories about that. I've already talked about it. Click here for all my other Spider-Man Brand New Day trailers and learn about that opening scene. And click here for all my Avengers Doomsday trailer videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.